Thank you for joining us this morning on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting and Council Bluffs. Booking, prices, hours, it's all located online at joeskarting.com. That's kartingwithak.com. You can also give them a call, 712-256-5278. You guys are sporting new hours right now, opening up at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday?
Yep, that's right. Monday through Friday. Monday through Tuesday, Monday through Thursday, it's 2 to 10 o'clock. On Friday, 2 to midnight. Saturday, 11 a.m. to midnight, and Sunday, noon to 8.
All right, so new hours at Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue, right next to AMC Theaters. That Star 17 is what it used to be called back in the day when it was first built. It's got that awesome IMAX theater right next to it. A great little night. Go over, get some racing at Joe's, and head over and get a movie. Well, this show, we're going to talk a lot about speed. We've got the gas man in studio, Jack Dover, driver of the number 53 ASCS sprint car. He's going to talk to us in Turn 3. In Turn 4, we're going to get a breakdown of how the point standings are going on with Andrew in the infield report for all the local dirt tracks in this area. What tracks are we going to talk about tonight?
I-80 Speedway, Junction Motor Speedway, Eagle Raceway, Crawford County, and Adams County Speedway.
All right, so we're going to break those down for you, and we've got a special announcement we're going to do during Turn 4. All you dirt trackers are going to make sure to want to listen to that because we're going to open up the show a little bit more and give you more dirt track as everyone has been chiming for the last couple of weeks. So we're going to try to work with you guys a little bit and make sure we get you up-to-date information on all the dirt track information that's going on. In Turn 2, as always, it's going to be the Fast 5 stories that are dominating the NASCAR world. But before we get to all of that, let's break down Michigan. What a heck of a race we saw. And apparently Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the championship on Sunday.
You'd think you'd done something. I mean, one race, it's almost like my record. As Andrew said before we went to air today, one race in 19 years. Nothing against Dale Earnhardt Jr., but it's one race in how many years? It's great to see him win and finally get back in the winner's circle, but still, let's get real here, folks.
As of today, we're all getting a little bit sick and tired of listening to NASCAR news, and still breaking news is Dale Earnhardt Jr. won at Michigan International Speedway on Sunday, and it's 7 days later. So congratulations to the guy. He definitely deserved it, definitely deserved to win. He didn't back into anything. It was no fuel mileage strategy. It was no luck. Guy had a dominant car, and he finally got a win.
Yeah, didn't go off on a pit reporter. He just great all-around day.
And yet, Kurt Busch will grace our Fast 5 again for a little bit of explosion he had on Saturday. But let's get back to Michigan, and the tires were the story leading up to the weekend. When they got there for the final test session on Thursday, I was posting on our Facebook page. They were seeing speeds of 201, 202 for an overall lap time. I was hearing speeds going down into Turn 1 of 218, 220. Incredibly fast speeds that they very well could have put a restrictor plate on there if they'd have had the time and ability to do that. But just because of the short time and all the haulers were already there, they opted to do a tire change instead after the final practice on Saturday. They decided to do the qualifying, and then they instigated a tire change. They changed the compound to a little bit harder on the left side only, and then stayed with the softer compound on the right side, hoping that would solve some of the blistering issues they were seeing all day long during practice and some of the qualifying.
They definitely had an issue with the tires. I think it was Tony Stewart I was watching. Sunday was going like 30, 35 laps, and some of his tires were blistering and going down. The biggest question I have, and I want to ask Andrew this, is what's your thoughts, with the speeds that we're seeing at Michigan, do you think this could very easily become a restrictor plate track?
Well, it should. It's usually one of the fastest tracks of the year. I think it was Kyle Petty that said that Atlanta Motor Speedway is almost as fast as a super speedway, and this thing's going 30 miles per hour faster than Atlanta is. If they're thinking about restricting that, they definitely need to think about restricting Michigan.
I think the goal for at least NASCAR and Goodyear to not restrict that would be tire compound. What they saw on Sunday with the harder right side tire or the harder left side tire, they may move that over to be all four tires be the same compound. It kind of seems to me like they're not interested in restricting these at these kinds of tracks. And one thing that Mike Helton said of NASCAR said that because you do have to slow down when you go into the turns, unlike Daytona and Talladega where it's full throttle the entire time. You do have to come off the gas a little bit, that they probably won't be restricting those tracks. But if those speeds continue, we're going to see some great racing in Michigan for several years to come.
I've always been a big fan of, let's get rid of the restrictor plates. Let's let's let these cars open up and let's see what they can do. I mean, this is the creme de la creme of racing. This is where the big boys go to dance. So let's watch them. Get rid of this restrictor plate stuff.
Well, the Aussie took the pole for Sunday's race. Marcus Ambrose took the pole and set the track qualifying record at 203.241 miles per hour. He absolutely shredded the previous record set by Ryan Newman in 2005, which was 194.232. I don't know anywhere, anytime I've ever heard of a track record being broken by, what are we looking at, 8 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour difference? I mean...
No, okay, I got to interject here. Now, we have, the gas man, Jack Dover, sitting in the studios today with us. Now, Jack, don't you have a buddy from Brisbane, Australia that can do something like this?
Yeah, I mean, he just got here last week. His name's Brody, and he's actually here in the studio with us. And I don't know, he said he knows Marcos.
Brody, have you raced against Marcos before? Have you beat him?
No, I wouldn't say I've raced against him. He races on that boring stuff on the hard bitumen. I only use that stuff to get to the track, but it's good that he's put it up there for the Aussies. And I'm a high school teacher, and there's a buddy in the staff room with me, and we listen live all the time to the racing when it's on, which is Monday our time. So we skip class and listen to the races and cheer him on. And he has his ups and downs, but he's a gasser. He gets after it.
Yeah, a little bit of a national pride there, seeing him beating up on some of the Americans, right?
Yeah, it's good. And what can I say? That he's had to do it the hard way, coming through the ranks, and he's worked up and he's proved that he's worthy of the task and smashing that lap record there. That's awesome stuff. Absolutely
destroyed it. And this isn't a fluke thing where he's all of a sudden come on last week in Michigan. Had a great run at Pocono. Had a great qualifying time at Charlotte. Petty Enterprises Richard Petty Motorsports is actually they're not doing too bad. All of a sudden they've started to kind of peek up their heads and say, hey, listen, we're here to contend. We're not just going to be a second tier organization anymore. With Eric Almirola in the 43, he got the pole a couple of weeks ago. Ambrose started outside of him, second position, and now Ambrose has got the pole one weekend. So I think we're going to see these guys continue. And hey, look what we're doing today. It's a road course, and that's kind of right up Ambrose's alley.
Yeah, it's right up Ambrose's alley, but wait till you hear my prediction for today's race.
If it's going to be Kurt Busch again, you're going to owe me.
Made it past lap 1, I think 2 weeks in a row now. He picks a guy and he wrecks in the first lap.
Listen, we all like Kurt Busch, but that was a horrible pick.
I feel bad for your next pick.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be something that you guys won't expect.
We didn't expect it last weekend because it was so wrong. Joe Gibbs Racing has yet another bad week. Well, not yet another bad weekend, but the 18 team, 3 engines in a row that they've blown. 3 different reasons why they've blown the engines, whether it be a rocker arm, whether it be a pin, or something like that. The 18 team has blown 3 straight engines. On top of that, Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin both get into accidents. Joe Gibbs Racing has an absolutely horrible day, and we're going to talk in the Fast 5 about that 18 team and what they're doing with the engine department, trying to get that, because that's got to be an absolutely frustrating day. Jack, have you ever blown an engine and had an absolutely winnable car?
Actually, in 2009, we were over at 360 Knoxville Nationals, and I started 8th, and we ran up to 2nd. Like with 5 laps into the race, we were already up to 2nd, and we had a good chance of winning it, and we lost the motor. That was probably the saddest day of my life right there. I mean, winning preliminary night of the Knoxville Nationals, that's a big thing. So
yeah.
I mean, we blew up 7 motors in 2009, so I know how that is blowing up motors. It's tough.
Ooh, 7 of them in a row.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not in a row, but 7. That's
a lot in 1 year.
You got those engines are about $30,000 a piece.
42 new, but like $10,000 to rebuild them.
Wow.
When you're blowing up 7 motors a year, psychologically, what's that do for you and your team? I mean, are you scared? Are you nervous when you go out there in the car? Am I going to blow another motor? Do you drive the car different? Take us through that mindset.
You don't drive the car any different, but it's in your head that is the motor going to last, and how long will it last? And it makes you look at the motor a lot harder and better when you're doing the maintenance on it.
I kind of asked that question last week when Kyle blew his second straight engine. Is there any kind of conversation going on between the engine department and Kyle saying, hey, listen, it's got to be your restarts, you're pushing the engine too hard, something like that. I mean, on Sunday we didn't see massively high temperatures, and we didn't see a lot of engines blown, so I guess it kind of vindicates him a little bit that it wasn't a driver thing. But like Bud was just kind of asking, when you got to blowing the fourth and the fifth, did that creep into your mind? Like, am I doing something wrong? Do I need to change up anything?
Well, it wasn't really me. We didn't know if it was a motor builder or if it was parts failing, and it turned out to be that it was a part we were putting in. Mm-hmm. And they just had a bad batch of motor parts, and once we got rid of those, they quit doing it, and we didn't blow any motors up after that.
Well, thank you for costing me that much money on your bad batch. So Junior wins at Michigan, 5.5 second lead over second place Tony Stewart. Junior snaps his 143 race winless streak and collects his 19th career win. The one thing I'm going to say about this, and we joked about it earlier, about this is Junior Nation when you talk about NASCAR. I mean, everybody is a Junior fan, and there's such a small crowd is a Junior hater. The thing I really respected about his win on Sunday was there was never the word I or me in any of the interviews I've heard him say. The second they put a microphone in front of him, he thanked Rick Hendrick, he thanked the engine guys, he thanked his crew, he thanked the research and development team, he even thanked the guy that put the stickers on the car. I mean, just a completely selfless act. He stood there in victory lane and never said for a second that it was him that drove it to victory lane. He said this was a team thing, and he thanked his fans, who has got to be the most dedicated fans in the world, to last 143 races. And it is the only time I have ever heard a car pulling into victory lane and you could hear the crowd cheering behind the roar of the engine.
Well, they've all been waiting for it for
how
long?
Absolutely phenomenal, and a stand-up guy. I gained a lot of respect for him on Sunday for his post-race interview.
Hence why he's got so many fans.
Right, and it kind of the whole thing to me, you hear the term heir apparent, and the fact that a lot of people say, well, he's only as big as he is because of his daddy's name. There is some validity to that, but you know what? He's done a lot to build that name himself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at what he does with his fans and how he promotes and markets himself. I mean, Dale's no longer with us, but I think if Dale was, to come back and he could, I'm sure he's looking down from the heavens above, and he's proud of what Junior's done.
I think it's pretty ironic that he won it on Father's Day. I think we all in the studio were thinking about it. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
And I loved the conspiracy theorists coming out saying that, NASCAR didn't throw some cautions because it was Father's Day and they wanted Dale to win. Well, the best rebuttal I've heard to that was, if NASCAR's rigging races, what the hell they wait 143 races for?
Yeah. They were specifically waiting for Father's Day.
There's been 2 or 3 times before where he was leading a race, ran out of gas, something happened, they could have thrown a caution to help him, but they didn't. I mean, it was, it built for a good storyline. So the number that absolutely shocked me the most on Sunday wasn't the 143 race winless streak being snapped. It was Jeff Gordon finishing 6th. That is his 400th career top 10 finish.
Well, the nice thing about Jeff Gordon is also nice to see him actually finish a race without lady luck,
right,
biting him in the rear end. To be 6th after all this luck is a great turnaround for him. This
is his 21st season in NASCAR. That means he's had an average of 20 top 10 finishes each and every season he's been in the circuit. So that is a phenomenal number to look at. 400 top 10 finishes. Yeah, but I think part of his success, it's kind of like Jack Dover here. Part of his success came from the dirt ranks where he was racing. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jack, but didn't Jeff race ASCS back in the day and some outlaw stuff? He came from the sprint car ranks. Where Jeff is now, he came from where Jack is right now. Well, I'm just saying, there's 36 races in a season. Out of 20 of them, he's finishing top 10. That's a phenomenal number. You ever heard of Jesse Sabine? Oh, my God.
Oh, gosh.
Mark it in your books, people. 14 minutes into the show, the boyfriend has been mentioned.
I love him.
This is Turn 1. It's presented by Auto Connection in Lincoln, 21st and P Street. Triple-digit temperatures are just around the corner. Make sure to get to Auto Connection in Lincoln and get your car serviced. Get it on the road and make sure it's in full working condition, because it's going to get hot out there. It's going to continue to be hot. July, I've heard, is going to be triple-digit temperatures for a majority of the month with absolutely no rain in the long-term forecast. So make sure your engine's cooling is in full working condition, or you could be sitting on the side of the road steaming along with your car. 21st and P Street in Lincoln. You can also get them by phone at 477-8200. That's 402-477-8200. You can also go online, autorepairlincolnne.com. Trivia question for this week. We've gone 3 straight weeks where somebody has not been able to answer the trivia question. We got to get it this week.
All right, here it is.
Okay, you've got a different one for me, right? We're going to do one that's... I'm not going to even say anything. Ask the question.
Okay, you get 3 races. It's a 2-part question. First part is, what number does the gas man, Jack Dover, use? What number is on the side of his sprint car?
Okay.
The second question, and you may have to Google this a little bit, is what is his main sponsor's name on that big wing on the side of his sprint car? Andrew's over here looking at me like I'm talking to him in Greek.
Is it the 25 banana boat car?
No, it's not the 25 banana boat car.
Get to the Facebook page, comment on it today. Comment on our page and tell us what the answer is, and you're going to win yourself 3 races if you get one of them and 6 races if you get both of them.
Yep.
So get over there and answer that question today. The Facebook page presented by Joe's Karting. This has been Turn 1. Just around the corner, we're going to do the Fast 5. It's the front stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.